Welcome to another episode of the Most Serious Podcast. And today I have CA Tanya with me. Do you prefer to call yourself as CA Tanya or just Tanya?
This Tanya.
And in Tanya also, why do you have? So you are the only Tanya who I've come across who has two eyes and two A's. So is there any
Yeah.
significance to that?
No, actually, since I was born, I have had a lot of spellings. People call me Tanya. My original name was Taniya, but people called me Tania and everything, and I could never sync with my name spelling. And I was going through a rough time a few months back, and I just showed it to a numerologist. Before that, also, people had told me your spelling and your name doesn't, sync. So, and I was going through a rough time, people try to do things. And he said, you should just change your spelling name. And after that, I saw a change and I thought I should just stick to it. So I
Okay.
changed it.
So you are already, bursting the myths of that 10th mark sheet that has the final name. You can't change it after that. So
Yeah,
you
maybe I
can.
will, maybe, but right now I've not officially changed it, but maybe with time I will change it.
That's cool. How are you doing, Tanya? What's been up? What are you up to these days? Do you want, if I missed anything, do you want to give like a introduction to the people who watch this about you?
So I'm a chartered accountant. I have been born and brought up in Calcutta. I'm currently living in Mumbai. I've been working with corporates, non-profits, audit firms. Then in the media industry, I was working. So I've been going through a lot. Right now, I am working on things, building things. When I am actually built that, people will get to know about it. So yeah, that's about me. And I have always believed that even though I am a CA by qualification, I don't think that that should restrict you from pursuing your dreams. Because I don't think a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old, when the child is growing up, wants to be a CA. If you are from a CA family, maybe you dream of it. But
Yeah.
with time, people think maybe this is a good option. So for me, even that was one of the things. But I just thought that my qualifications shouldn't stop me from doing what I want to do. I have loved being in front of the camera. I loved media. That's what I've always wanted to do, I felt, and I am doing that.
That's great. I think you have a talent for it for sure. You're very natural, just in front of the camera. I've seen some of your content on Instagram, and that's how I got in touch. And so when you say this, when you say that no 5-year old, really wishes and dreams of becoming a chartered accountant one day, why do you think is that the case? Why do you think children dream of becoming an astronaut or like a cricketer, but not something like a CA?
See, any child, identifies through visuals, what they see on screen. They see their dads watching cricket. They see that, that waving of the bat and that kissing of the bat. That thing you feel, oh my God, I want that one day. I want to be a cricketer. An astronaut, you dream of, in books you see there's a moon, there is this solar system. So you get very fascinated by visuals. CAs are not fascinated on textbooks or on TV. So why will a child who doesn't know what is CA would want to be a CA? Right?
Yeah.
After when you mature, you think about money and you think about those things, then you think about options, and then probably you think of CA. So whatever child while growing up, he wants to be a teacher because he sees, teacher being having authority, teacher trying to change people. That's what they dream of. So whatever
Hmm.
people see, that's what they want to become, I feel.
And what have you in your process of becoming a CA? So, is there something that you initially thought of that, that is something I might like? Or, this happens with people all the time. So, they get into a profession with some biases and with some expectations. And they get into it, and 1 year in, 6 months in, they realize that it's a completely different ball game. So, was that the similar case to you with CA, with accountancy, with all of this finance stuff?
See, I actually didn't give a lot of thought to what I want to do in the long term. I was a very good student in top 5, top 10 of my class. I got great marks in 10 and everything. So people, my parents wanted me to pursue science. And I thought being a doctor is something I like. But when obviously there's blood and all those things involved, and I thought I don't want to take the risk of someone's life in my hands.
Okay.
Okay. So I think, and in 11th, you have to go to these institutes outside tuitions to take, and
Yeah.
I didn't think I was a very homely person. I didn't want to go out, take tuitions in and 11, 12 for medical. So I didn't think that was a good option. And I didn't want to do engineering for sure. I thought that is the most boring thing on earth and I don't want to go ahead with it. So in medical and
No
science, like
offense
medical
taken.
engineering,
Yeah.
I thought physics and all it's boring. Like I didn't find it interesting even in class 10.
Yeah.
So obviously, if I can't become a doctor, I'll not go for science, right? And then the best thing is take commerce. I like fine, I'll think about what I want to do. But actually, I just wanted to go for humanities because the subjects in humanities are very interesting, like psychology, theater, media. It was very different. I enjoy those kind of things. But obviously, the perception is that if you're not good in studies, you're a then you should go for
Yeah.
arts. That is so
Yeah.
not true. I think humanities is one of the best thing which people can take. Your creativity really expands. I wish I had taken humanities, but I didn't. So commerce was the only thing left. So I took commerce, and I didn't want to go for CA because everyone was in class 12. They started filling the forms. I like, why would I want to do it? Because everyone is doing it, and I'm a person who's a non-conformist. If people are doing this, I will not do this. I have that
Mhm.
thing that I have that rebel kind of a thing. I'll do it only if I feel like I should do it. People were doing that, and I was like, no. And I was good with law, I was good with theory. So my brother said he was pursuing CA. So he said you should try for CS because that's related to law and all. So I said, fine, let's just go for it. I don't know what to do. And obviously in India, the education system is not great. The career counseling is not great that they'll actually take a child's, best interests and expertise, and they try and you can make a profession out of it. So I like, fine, let's just go for the company secretary. While I was doing company secretary, I really was enjoying it. I thought it is smart, and I thought it is easy for me. So
Mhm.
I thought let's just try for CA as well because I think I can do it. And my father actually wanted a CA because
Okay.
for his businesses he was facing issues, so he really needed advice of CAs all the time. I think I can really, and I'm very close to my dad, like all daughters are. So I can help him with his business if I become a CA. So that was the main push, that I'll help my father, for his business. I can actually do something about it. And my dad also told me very later on that he had filled his CA form when after class 12, but because of financial problems, he didn't go for it. So I think that was also a thing which were like, if my brother is already doing it, I should also go ahead
Yeah.
and do it just for my father. That's why I chose CA. That was the main reason.
Damn, and what's that? That's honestly, that's a very inspiring take on the whole journey that you've had. But I don't honestly, I don't know what a CS. I think I know the full form. It's company secretariat, if I'm not wrong.
Company secretary.
Secretary. Okay. And what
Yeah,
what
yeah.
does it mean? So for chartered accountancy, I will come to that, of course. And I think I still have an idea. They help you with the taxes and all of that stuff. Just a brief, high level overview. But I have no clue what a CS is or what do they do.
Okay. So basically, since I have not worked as a CS, I will not be able to give you a complete detail of it. CS basically they study more of law, compliances of businesses. Like every
Okay.
company, be it all companies have to follow certain compliances, legal issues. Without that, they face a lot of legal problems from the government. So be it filing returns, like legal returns, compliances. Again, there are many things when companies are merging or dissolving. There are legal things to be taken care of. So any legal aspect, more or less, due diligences is what CS takes care of. So not all companies are required to have CS, but companies which are listed and there's a criteria. If you have so much of turnover and paid up share capital, you're supposed to have an in-house CS who will take care of all this. Again, it's a very lucrative career option as well. People who are interested in law, if they don't want to go for law like that, they can actually try for CS. Company secretary is a very good, and they keep meetings, notes of the meetings, and all those things. They make minutes of the meetings. A lot of things, like they are really intelligent, and their legal knowledge is very very strong.
Have you checked out this feature on Zoom which allows you to, have meeting transcripts and, it summarizes your meetings into and it, transcribes all of what it went. Have you checked that out?
I have seen the feature. I have not used it because I've not used Zoom in a long time. I saw there's this
Okay.
feature.
Okay. So I work in consulting, okay, and this also is a very business services driven industry. And what I feel sometimes is with the advent of all the AI tools that are coming, and I would want your take on this because you are a very well informed individual on these fronts. Do you think like a job like a CS, okay, someone who okay you can't beat chat gpt on the amount of knowledge that you can store or that you can refer to on the internet. Okay, and no individual can. So when or if do you feel the job of a CS, becomes like irrelevant in the next 5-10 years? Do you ever think about that? Or if you were to think about that, what would your thoughts be?
See, I'll give you a very interesting insight. Uh, ChatGPT was tried to give, people tried to use ChatGPT to pass CF exams and it failed.
Okay.
Okay. Same with CS exams. Obviously, I think any technology which comes in, it supports an individual. When computers came, okay, people thought, oh, computers coming, your task will be like, even for CS, we used to maintain books, like actual books for
Okay.
maintaining accounts. They thought when computer is coming, then why will you need CA? You not need CS. But that is, I feel it's not true, at least today. Okay. Jobs AI can take up jobs, but human element is required to make sure it is working smoothly. For
Hmm.
CS, what they do, they will not AI will not be able to file that AOC 4, which a companies are required to file. They will not be able to check whether a director's responsibility statement is filed, whether it is signed. Those things are required. That AI will not take it. AI will not go to your boss and say, sign this,
Hmm.
attach your DSC. That a human is only required. I know professional CS professionals who are so smart. If there's any change in law, that AI will be able to explain you, but what a human through his experience will explain you, which no AI can do it. So I know a professional CS who if I have an issue, I say, Di, can you please explain me this law? Is it applicable to us? In just two brief sentences, she explains it so beautifully. I'm able to understand that AI chat GPT I use, I think they still use complicated words and I think it just goes above my head. So AI has to improve a lot to take up jobs. And I think maybe in US, in US, everything is very technologically driven. There are no people in sight. They're just technology and AI. In India, there's still time for it. And humans develop AI. AI doesn't, they are not made to take up human jobs, I feel.
Hmm. Let's see where this conversation lies 10 years from now.
Yeah, maybe right now the state of AI, I don't think so. Maybe with time we'll get to know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I find myself thinking about all of this a lot. So, I completely agree to your point. I don't think there can be a complete replacement or eradication of the human touch. But what sometimes I
Mhm.
feel is, it certainly replaces the amount of, probably in general, number of CSs required in a country like India. So let's say
Yeah.
a ballpark number, currently India has probably what, 10 lakh CSs or 5 lakh CSs across the country. And with the help
Mhm.
of tools like this, so some people are smart enough to deploy tools instead of human labor, and
Mhm.
then they are able to
Mhm.
like 5x their productivity. Then that
Mhm.
particular CS who's just smart enough to use those tools to their advantage, then they kind of
Mhm.
start taking up market share, and possibly that is something that can happen. Do you think?
Yeah, I think, but like I said, it's time. There's time for it,
Hmm.
and like I know Chat GPT when I have to form an email, their email starts with, I hope this email finds you well. Every single time. It is so normal today. If I see a script, I will know it's a Chat GPT script. Okay.
Hmm.
And if I have say, they'll just change it to something else. But I just know there just are two variations. Okay. So there's still time and I think CACS is a very specialized expertise job because it comes
Hmm.
with experience. It comes after honing of 5 years of training, in-person training, like industrial training. They go through a lot of training, networking, and then they do what they do. So I think that
Hmm.
expertise is very, very important. AI today, like I said, it's not going to replace it. It is, and I think AI really helps. Like minutes of the meeting, if you give it to them, they'll form it in a nice way. It
Yeah.
saves a lot of time, I feel. I think
Hmm.
it's helping professionals like CA and CS, but I don't think they're taking up jobs right now. There's still time for it.
And do you find yourself like, so how does a day in your life look like? I just want to know that in general before I ask you the next question, because I have no clue, like what does a CA do when they wake up first thing in the morning and how do they
See,
finish their day?
I'm not the right person to ask this question because I'm not doing the typical CA work, which people think. First of all, I don't think CA has any limits. I think
Okay.
CAs can do anything. Just because
Hmm.
they're CA by profession doesn't mean their world revolves around finance and tax. It is a
Okay.
very, very wrong misconception. So even though I'm CA by qualification, I don't prefer doing this normal tax and finance job. My
Yeah.
work, like I said, I like being in front of the camera. I like recording stuff. I like building things I like creating a change. Like
Yeah.
things when, like I said, I wanted to take humanities, but I didn't take it because there was not a lot of awareness about,
Mm.
like, media was not growing at that time. I didn't know there's something called a film school. I didn't know there's something called you can do BMM for media and all those things. If I knew that, maybe I would have taken that. So I'm trying to create that change for finances. Okay. Like I didn't know you can earn so much of money through stock market. I'm learning that today, even though I'm a
Mm.
CA. Okay. Because
Mm.
it's not taught to us. Stock markets are not taught to us. Money management is not taught to us. So I have learned it like that. So I'm trying to build things around that. And even, and you know what? Like people think if you're a CA, you should only do CA job. You should just file taxes, file GST returns. But I feel the grind CAs go through, it teaches you so much that you can do
Mm.
anything in the world. So that qualify, if you get the degree, it means you're not an easy person. You've gone through a lot of grind, you've faced failures in your life. That really shapes you as a person, and you become like unstoppable. You can do anything on earth. And I'm trying
Mm.
to do that.
Wow, that's impressive. Your enthusiasm is kind of affecting the my it's inspiring to see. But I want to come back to this, Tanya. So earlier you mentioned that you're a non-conformist. Okay, you don't want to
Yeah.
go where everyone is going. And I just want to sit with that a moment and really want to figure out why is that something that's so close to you? Why do you relate to that ideology? Why do you think that applies to you? And what makes you content saying that I'm a non-conformist?
Because, Ripudaman, since childhood, we were told that if you get good marks in 10, you should take up science, which means you're a good student.
Yeah.
If you take up science, you should go for a doctor and engineering. And I thought that I'm a good student. I got like 10 CGP in all my subjects except Hindi. So I thought like science is good, but I am not. If I'm a good student, does I don't feel like doing science. But no
Yeah.
one talks about if you don't feel like if you're a good student, you can opt for something else. I wanted to go for humanities, but they're saying it means you're a poor student. Don't go for that. And I really wanted to do it. If I had taken up that, my life would have been very different. I would have been doing what I'm doing today. But my
Mm.
qualification is different. So I felt like, and in CA, there were so many myths. I can't believe it. Like I have failed in CA. And if people had told me that there was a different path to approach CA, I would have probably passed. I wouldn't have faced so many failures. I wouldn't have struggled so many times. Like so many times. And I was like, I will not follow what people do. I will follow what my heart is saying for me to do. So many times people used to say, no, you should attempt both groups together, it's important. And I was like giving 8 papers in CA. It's not a joke. My mental health went for a toss. But I tried it again and again because people were saying. When I went for one group, 4 papers, I passed. And mentally I was doing so much better. I will not listen to people. So from then on, I decided whatever my heart says, whatever is good for me, I will do it, irrespective of what people are saying is good for you. So yeah.
Mm. That really, that sometimes I feel, even in my life, I felt that sometimes just unconsciously believing into what you see around yourself really lands up into situations where you don't, and then you don't even have a person to go to. So, because most of the advice that I see is very flaky, it's generic. So,
Yeah.
everyone, like you said,
Yeah.
you get good marks in 12th, you get science. Then who's accountable for that decision that you've made? It's a general societal conformity. You can't go to
Yeah.
random people and say that, I've taken science, now I'm not happy with my life, what do I do? But
Yeah.
if you take a decision consciously, I feel then you always have yourself to go
Mm.
back to. You can always fall back on
Yeah.
yourself and
Yeah. For
really
sure.
realize that, I took this for myself, these are the consequences, and maybe I
Yeah.
can learn, or maybe I can do something else. I
Yeah.
think
And I
that,
think,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Please continue.
Yeah, so I was just, I'm, that kind of validates the journey that you've had with CA. Like, let's say, I don't know that, how the exam structure is, or, what is it like. But you are saying, instead of giving two exams clubbed in together, you gave them like four. What is that like?
So basically, CA has 3 levels:
Okay.
foundation, intermediate, and finals. Foundation is relatively easier, and inter and final is very, very difficult. It's one of the toughest exams of India. CA is one of the toughest exams in India, and pass percentage is around like 8%. So there are, well, like 4 papers in foundation, you have to give it like together. There's no option of choosing. But in intermediate and finals, you have an option. Intermediate, there are like, now right now structure has changed. So intermediate has had 4 papers in one group and 3 papers in the second group, and final had four papers in each group. So a person could choose, if you, whether in intermediate, whether you want to give one group or you want to give both groups together.
Okay.
So the in finals, so all the teachers and everyone used to say you should give both groups together for various reasons, that it saves time, otherwise you have to wait for 6 more months. And also, if you give both groups together, there's a chance of you getting a rank. If you give both groups together, millions of reasons. But and the papers, like I used to be on alternate days for CA. So those 2 weeks exams will go on, and that is like, imagine 3 hours paper, 100 marks paper. You just have 1.5 days to prepare, and it's one of the most difficult exams of India, where pass
Yeah.
percentage is like, while I was in old syllabus, pass percentage was 2%. So imagine
Mm.
the number of people who are going to take and how many people are going to come out of it with both groups.
Yeah.
It was mentally very taxing for 2 weeks. You are in that 1.5, that grind is too much. And mentally, I could not take it. So,
Mm.
don't say that this is the way. Always that this is the best, but try other things. People never
Yeah.
say ki try other. Whenever I say something to people, I always say try. I'm saying this, but you should have your own thing. What syncs with you? What aligns with
Mm.
you? Somewhere when you're doing something now, this is not for me. I am
Mm.
not enjoying it. Even though I'm doing what you're saying, I'm not feeling good about it. You should follow that instinct, I feel. Because everyone is made very different. And I feel mostly people are born with very average brains. They become intelligent over time. But people make you, you should study 18 hours a day. People are saying this is super intelligent. We are not. So don't put it on people to study 18 hours a day and make it a norm. Please.
Why do you think, Tanya, this is so you this whole point started with the whole concept of how education is viewed in India, how Indian education system really conditions you as you grow up. So
Yeah.
why do you think this element, what have you observed about Indian society that leads us to having this approach to just telling this is the only way to get successful in life? Why do you think as a society we tell our children that?
Yeah. I think people have made uh, people who are good in studies, people have made them ideals. Oh, this is a
Mm.
rank holder, this is a gold medalist, doctor in AIMS, IIT. So that person is the most perfect person on earth. And people who do it, all due respect to them, but they are super intelligent or they have worked really hard. Okay, they're average people, majority are not born like that. They can't study for 18 hours. They can't, become, they don't come first in every exam. They are not able to learn. So this 18 hours a day, you should grind and grind and grind and grind. It is not applicable to other people. They function in a different way. For me also, when I used to study, people were telling me 16 hours a day, no TV, no phone, nothing. And although some of it is true, because TV I'm always distracting, but
Yeah.
16 hours a day, 18 hours a day, at the cost of my health, not able to sleep, I was going crazy. If I was sleeping
Mm.
3 hours for 6 months, I was not able to function. I was growing fat. Okay, I was
Yeah.
not eating properly, and I was like, I'm not able to study 16 hours.
Yeah, you
Then I
can't.
thought
Yeah.
this is not. Yeah, like people who can, great. Means I was like surprised, and when they used to talk about the schedule is to be 18 hours, I was like, oh my God, I am not, maybe I'm not made for it. And I used to
Yeah.
feel very demotivated, because if they are passing and getting ranks through it, means I'm nowhere even close. So I
Mm.
used to study for 8 to 10 hours max every day. I used to go to the gym. I used to meditate. I used to read books. I used to work on myself. And I passed, because I
Mm.
was taking care of my mental health, which is the most important thing. People don't talk about it. But how your
Mm.
brain, like when you see your failing, people around you passing and getting package of lakhs, and you're still studying, it is a pain for CA students, especially because people who are younger than you, they pass, and who call you bhaiya didi, they pass out and they earn. You feel like a failure.
Yeah.
Okay, but that is not how it's supposed to be. You can actually just take care of your mental health, eat good food, sleep well. You will see you'll pass. don't
Mm.
don't make champion of 18 hours of study and grinding and grinding and grinding. Okay, that's not the way you should go for it. If it syncs with you, good. But if it not, don't go for it.
When did money first come in your life? What was your first income, source of income? How did that happen? How did that feel?
For all people who are pursuing CA, they must be knowing we have to go through 3 year. Now it's again things have changed. It changes every 3 4 years. So we have to go through something called articleship. Like
Okay.
after we clear like one group of intermediate, we have to start our 3 years in office, learn under a CA. So you learn everything. So the stipend we used to get used to be 1,000 rupees per month. Okay, so
Yo.
even today that is well, like it must have increased from 3 to 4K maybe a month, but still they are called articles, articleship, and that is the amount CA articles get even today. Like maybe it's 3,000 per month or something like
Yeah.
that now, but that is the average. So it felt good for me. Like earning even was 1,000, and that time when you're growing, when you're just 20, now you don't realize that it's a very small amount,
Yeah.
right? So when I
Yeah.
got 1,000 rupees, I was like ecstatic, you know. And we used to get probably 2 3 months club karke some I've forgotten. No, we used to get it's not allowed, right? 1 month only I got, and I showed it to my father. My father was like, "Is this what you've got?" I was like, "Yeah." And he like after grinding for a month, you got this. I was like, and I thought this is not less. This is good. 1,000 rupees. You know how many things I can buy from 1,000 rupees. But I was just very happy, and I gave that. I
Yeah.
remember I had put that money in like bank account. It had come, had taken that money, and I gave it to my like in 100 notes karke. I gave it to my mom. Like I had closed it. I say, "Mummy, choose," and she chose it, and I like see, and she was so happy that giving that money to her.
Yeah.
So I think that has been a very beautiful thing for me that I could. Your parents spend so much on you, and
Yeah.
when you give, even though it was not a huge amount, but when I gave it to her, like the happiness on her face, you can't compare it to anything. I was just very happy when I saw that I am capable of giving you something back.
And with
The
your,
1,000 rupees.
with your experience with money, let's say, that was your starting experience with money. And I'm sure you've, come across individuals and you've helped them figure out ways, you've helped, corporates figure out their ways. So what have you learned about money that, sometimes you feel, just a lack of literacy is causing? Because whenever again, we talk about things like debt traps, and we think about, people spending all of their money into one asset class and probably, not being responsible about it. And you as an
Mm.
individual who has that academic literacy on it and probably, experience on it as well. So how do you think people in general, what have you learned about money that if you could tell them would really, simplify their lives?
See, I think for everyone across, money is a very difficult topic to understand. Sadly,
Hmm.
because the financial laws of India is made difficult. Like if you are from non-CA background, if I tell you to file your own return, you will not be able to. Because the way
Hmm.
it is made, it is not for you to be able to understand and file. So I'll say this to for all individuals, get bills for everything. Where see when you have to file your return at the end of the year, you don't know maximum of it. But give every bill you get, either if you're eating, either if you're traveling, like in a hotels if you booked, if you have GST and everything, put your GST in everything. Your CA will explain it to you why it's important. I'll also give you a hint of it. When you get your bills and while filing returns, you give all those bills to your CA, na, they know how to give you deductions. They know what income, like suppose I'm give you an example. If your income is rupees 5 lakhs, like your salary, see again, laws of India, like for salaried income, there's a different law, for business, there's a different law. I'll just make it very simple and I'll just explain. If you're getting 5 lakh rupees in your bank account, that's what you've earned, and your expenses for your business has been 2 lakh rupees, so you're supposed to just pay 3 lakh rupees to the government. But government also says 2 lakhs will be deducted if you have proper bills for it. Number one.
Okay.
Okay. Number two, also if you have investments made like LIC investment, medical premium, you should have it. For everyone should have it, because the amount of deduction you get is 1.5 lakhs for LIC and all those things. So if you suppose now I say 5 lakhs is your income, 2 lakhs is your expenses, so 3 lakh rupees is what you're supposed to pay taxes on. But the government is saying if you have LIC premium and all those things, PPF of 1.5 lakh rupees, then 3 lakhs, the net income minus 1.5 lakhs. Now you have to just give me tax on 1.5 lakhs. Okay.
Oh,
Now
I
government
see.
is also saying if you have medical premium, deduct that amount also, 25,000. So government is basically trying to say that have all these insurances with you, have mediclaim with you, and then you give a lower amount of tax. So government, but people are not aware of these laws. They don't maintain their bills. If you don't maintain your bills, people will not, the CA will not know that you deserve to pay lesser amount of tax. Also, if you have
Hmm.
GST, put it in everything. Like for if you're traveling for your business or if you're traveling for anything, that on a hotel bill, if you get 18%, you're not supposed to, it's an indirect tax, which is difficult for me to explain probably, but that amount will be deducted from what you're supposed to pay to the government. So
Hmm.
have GST number in everything. Government, the CA will know where you're eligible to pay, where you're not eligible to pay. But this just brief thing, there are two kinds of taxes. Direct tax is called income tax, which you file your returns and you give. Indirect tax is GST. You don't directly, it is not from your earnings that you give. You take it from someone and you give it to the government. So just be aware of all this, direct tax and indirect tax. GST don't pay from your own pocket. So never feel bad where if you have a GST that you know what I have to pay GST. It was never yours, it is not yours. You take it and you give it to the government. But income tax, which you file a return filing, that is a direct tax going from your own pocket for the income you've earned and you give it to the government. Maintain bills, basically, and put your GST, if you have a GST number, put it everywhere. Two basic things.
Got it. I think maintain bills and put your GST number everywhere and just
Yeah.
taking care of that direct and indirect tax.
Yeah.
But I want to come back to the indirect tax piece. I think
Yeah.
just to be more clear. So when you say that GST, let's say I buy something, let's say I go to a restaurant, fancy restaurant, and then I'm giving my friends a party because I got a promotion, which I haven't, but let's say I do. So and the bill comes and the bill is of 10,000 rupees and there's a GST 18% on it. So you are saying that
Hmm.
GST on that bill, which makes it probably 11,800 whatever. So now that money was never mine to begin with, and I'm indirectly paying it to the government. How does that work? But it's going out of my pocket.
See, I'll tell you. There are two things. First, I said this is not your money if you are registered for GST. You don't,
Okay.
when you're going to a restaurant, you're not registered for GST. So just basically what government, the restaurant person is asking you for it. They're asking, you are paying, but they're not, they will, it's not their money. They will take it from and they'll give it to the government. They're just acting as an
Oh.
agent. That is indirect tax for them. You also directly don't pay to the government, right? You pay to the restaurant people will pay to the government. But right now when I say
Oh.
this, for when you go to restaurants, you can't give your GST number because it is not like when you go to restaurants and all, government doesn't allow you to claim GST. Okay.
Hmm.
So because they know you can go to party, you eat, so there are again laws. These are things against which you will not get a claim. Like
Yeah.
this is one of the examples. Eating on a restaurant, when you go out and eat, you're not about, you can't say it's a business expense and every, see, there are two things. When you go out for restaurants or a business party, you get a bill, GST is there. When you use that bill na, you can show, when you give it to your CA, they will use it while filing your income taxes. That is a business expense. I'll explain, make it simple for you. How do I explain? Okay. Two types of laws. Two types of laws. Okay, wow, nice. Two types of laws, like direct tax, indirect tax. This bill, restaurant bill with the GST, that will work for your direct taxes. It will be a business expense for you. As in, if you again like 5 lakhs of income you have and 2,000 rupees, the CA will make sure they say that 2,000 rupees inclusive of GST is a business expense. So your whole 2,000 will get deducted. But
Got
it
it.
will not be used for GST because government
Ah.
doesn't allow you to use it as a restaurant. So even though you don't get the GST benefit of it, but you get a business expense benefit of it, your income is reduced by that amount. So there are two
Hmm.
ways a bill can work. If it doesn't work one way, it works the other way. That's why I say keep all bills. And you should, and don't, like if you're parting and all, don't use that bill for a business, right? So again, that ethics and all will work. So if it's a business expense, maintain all bills. It's important. Like if you're going to take your client out and it's a business expense, but you just throw the bill away, ki it's okay. But no, that's a business promotion expenses, and you get your tax will be deducted by it. Means if you pay a reduced amount of tax.
I think this episode should just be the testament for you to start a YouTube channel or something explaining, taxes and all to the
Yeah,
general public using examples. I think you
yeah,
should do that. You certainly have a skill for it. Let me
yeah.
ask
Like
you
I.
this. Okay, please go
Mhm.
ahead. What were you saying?
No, no. I was thinking of it like I know where like for me, my father has been uh the inspiration. Like I explain these things to him, right? Like I'm explaining like a child, like 5 lakhs, 3 lakhs, because he doesn't understand to explain these things to him. So I used to think about it that I have so much of studied CA. These are basic things people are not aware of. So probably if I make content regarding that, and I'm thinking also, it will be good for people like my father, people like others who don't understand it. And I feel bad when I've explained it to my friends also, and they don't know. I said, "Are you kidding me? I am your friend, and you're doing this." So yeah, maybe it will be helpful. I'll think about it.
Yeah, definitely should. And see, it's sometimes even if you don't get into the nitty-gritty of it. So anyone who
Hmm.
hears this conversation and they get to the part of where you say, always save your bills. And we'll probably try to
Hmm.
make a reel out of it so that everyone gets that.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
just that those three words might help so many people across the board, whoever come across this, and they might
Yeah.
save,
Yeah.
X amount of money on their taxes and all. So this in general, I
Mhm.
think the impact is insurmountable. And for all the knowledge, because everyone doesn't have the time to go and get specialized academic education on it, or
Yeah.
nor they have the
Yeah.
resources. So things like these, I think, are a very good use of this medium in general.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
And what has been the experience like, being in front of camera, working with media, working with BeerBiceps team? What has been that like?
It's been very different. Like I have worked in corporates, I worked with NGOs, I've worked with audit firm, but media industry works in a very different way.
Hmm.
So there are a lot of creative people which I have always wanted to be around, and creative people work in a very different way. They're like full of ideas, um, and I think they're like the what you see on Instagram, what you see on YouTube comes from an idea. Uh, and I think that has been very it's a big revelation for me that how they can put in different ideas, how they can use stickers, how they can play with colors, like a thumbnail can be made like this. And also the biggest learning for me has been to go with the trend. Like if
Hmm.
there is birthday of a famous like Kiara Advani got married. Okay,
Yeah.
so when that has been happening, you already have a podcast with her. Change the thumbnail, right? Then it will
Hmm.
get views. It will increase. Those are small, small things. Whatever trend is going on, you should just go with it. And Valentine's Day is going on. Make a reel on it.
Hmm.
Republic Day, something about it. So, and again, the brain behind the camera, it's very important how people think about it, and the hours they put in. It's like if there have been 4 uploads a week, the team behind stays till that time, like late night, to upload it, you know, and how difficult it is, I understand. And to maintain schedules, they're very, very strict on schedules. If something has to go at like Tuesday, Thursday, 9 p.m., it will go at 9 p.m. You don't miss any targets. So that's
Hmm.
like, it was a big thing for me. That this is what goes behind to make a success, like a YouTube content successful. It's crazy.
And don't you think, like, the the way that it has changed, so now people who are people are quitting their jobs to pursue something like YouTube full time, and it has means and
Yeah.
potentials to give them so much more than they could ever imagine, from a strategic, or just climbing up the corporate ladder, or doing it
Mhm.
the way it's supposed to be done, as probably in the
Mhm.
2005s or 2010s. But now people are like,
Mhm.
everyone is trying to explore that creative side, and the landscape has changed so much. So I sometimes, this is
Yeah.
what makes me think that we can't even predict what 2035 is going to look like. Because
Mhm.
2015 or 2005, it was very hard to say that I'll quit my investment banking job to make videos on a website, and it will make me more money than my current job.
Yeah.
So that is just, sometimes I think that's so crazy, and just makes me wonder, do you think that there's a progression to it? Like, we went from probably radio to TV, and then TV to videos, and then what next comes? Like, we've gone from short videos to now reels and everything. So like, what is the next thing? Do we all apply ARs and just keep roaming around without mobile phones? What's your take? How does future look like to you?
I was about to say the next future is Apple Vision Pro,
Yeah.
but I think content has scaled since COVID
Mm,
2020. I think there was a huge boom. Even I was not aware of BeerBiceps and everything. I didn't know Abhi knew. I didn't know any of them. In 2020, I started watching YouTube because the world had locked down. And since then, the reason people are saying it because see, every child somewhere dreams of being an actor or actress to be
mm,
seen on the large screen, right?
yeah.
But they know sometimes, probably of the industry or whatever, it's difficult to be there without any contacts to be in front of the big screen. Today, everyone has that phone and they know they can come on YouTube or they can come on Instagram. So they probably it is first of all coming from that childhood dream of people knowing me,
Yeah.
and then also knowing that the money this industry has is crazy. So when you assist someone, like people quitting their jobs, when they see someone with a camera and you're assisting someone in front of the camera and you see the importance that person is getting, and
Mm,
you think, even I can do it. It's not a big deal, right? There has to be a camera, you have to just speak well. So it's completely okay. And I think everyone should have a personal brand. People should know you for who you are. And I
yeah.
think everyone has something very important to share. They're just not able to because of whatever reasons. But everyone should make content. Quitting a job, not quitting a job is completely dependent on a person. But personal branding is important today's day and age. And what is the future? AI is definitely the future. Apple Vision Pro, when it launches in India, we will know, but it is making all the right choices. And let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I think definitely it's sometimes I feel it's just the challenge is to try to predict. And I just feel it's going to be so out of
Yeah.
ballpark. Like, you any predictions or any assumptions that you have, what you can do. Like, I always go back to this quote that my father says, whenever you're overwhelmed or confused in your life, just do today right. What can you do today the best way? If you have three tasks
Yeah.
outlined for you, can you do them the best of your abilities today? And then you just have to do that tomorrow. You just repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And if you can do your today right, your tomorrows are always sorted. So I think that just, that's the only thing which kind of helps you stay calm, stay steady. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
for sure.
honestly so cool to talk to you. Don't you have any spicy snaps for me to make out of this podcast? What is Ranveer like, or what is some drama in the beer biceps team?
No, no, there's no drama. He's just very driven as a person. He's the most focused. It's true. Honestly, the guy people see on camera is like funny and laughing. He's like probably that's his camera face, but in real, he's like because we are like in the office and stuff. He's probably the most focused guy, the most serious guy you will meet because he's just constantly and he has to release 4 podcasts a week. It's not an easy job. His
Yeah,
calendar and he shoots every day. So he's just very like focused and he's into his own zone. Of course, like I said, creative people need their own space.
yeah.
They're not the most talkative people around because then they lose their creativity. So Ranveer is also like that. He's just very focused and he's just very driven. He's like crazy. He's like a beast that I want to be big. I want to do this. He's like that. Okay. But he keeps it like in office, obviously keeps it within himself.
Yeah.
But really, he is like that. He's very, very like crazy for his work and like, just and not seen him no one has seen him smiling laughing in office. When we went to an offsite, that was the only time people saw him sort of laughing and being normal. Otherwise just very quiet and just focused on his work. He'll just shoot and be quiet, shoot and be quiet. So
I
yeah.
think he's the perfect ambassador for the most serious podcast. Doesn't smile at all. Should try to get him on the show.
Yeah, I love yeah, you should,
Do
you can
you
try.
do you think that because you have experience of working with corporates, and then a very new age kind of environment that probably the creative team at BeerBiceps have, so do you find which one really suits your style more? Do you think you are well suited for a new age kind of you know Gen Z kind of environment, or do you know the old ball and chain, the corporate?
The corporate is definitely, I realize what my I can't, because I'm a very blunt and very honest person. So people who are very blunt and honest, they're best suited to do something of their own, I feel. Because I've felt that I have always had a business background, and I have known, like, even while auditing articleship, I used to love enjoying reading businesses, how they're making profit, what is the business idea, how did they scale it. So I've always enjoyed businesses. So people like me who come from this background and who enjoy businesses should always do something of their own, right? So for me, that is best suited. The corporates are not something I promote. People who are very honest and people who can't, you know, I just don't like the hierarchy. I don't
Hmm.
enjoy it when your manager is treated differently and you are treated differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a person with a lot of values and ethics.
Yeah.
I think even the peon should be treated, the office boy should be treated equally, and the manager should get the same level of respect. Okay.
Hmm.
So I just don't enjoy when I feel someone sitting there and feeling bad because of not being spoken properly in front of people. I just don't like it. And I am someone who voices it. So I
Hmm.
don't enjoy all this in office ambience that, nah, I'll just say it out loud. This is not the way to treat anyone. And you should, I feel, stand up for yourself. I am that kind of person who always stands up for myself for what I believe is right because I know it is right. And you should have a voice of your own. Because if you let people, office, anyone, and I think especially this happens in jobs, I have been part of businesses and I have been part of jobs as well. I feel that if you don't stand up for yourself, no one's going to stand up for you. And
Hmm.
people, I know so many people, you know, they just don't say anything because they fear losing a job. They listen to boss ki galia and they listen to being treated not properly, not being paid well because they don't have any other option. And I
Hmm.
don't think that is the way to do a job or that is the way. If you think you deserve it, go and speak up for yourself. And the day you stop feeling bad for yourself that, oh my God, I'm in need of this, and you do something of your own, either be independent and not think and do a job because you want to learn something. And I
Yeah.
feel if you do a job only out of a need, I don't think people who are working for anyone are very happy.
Hmm.
Majority, I feel, are not doing it for the love of it. If you do for the
Hmm.
love of it, great. If not, just be honest and open, and don't fear losing a job because you should know that you're not doing this for that. I feel,
I think also,
don't
so I
listen to my advice, but this is what it, I feel.
now everyone who quits their job, I want you to reach out to Tanya on their LinkedIn asking us for a job. Now I've quit this. Now
Yeah,
what do I do?
for
You
sure.
tell me. Are you hiring me?
Yeah, like I said, you should do it only because you love it. If you see, many people are suited for jobs because they're made like that.
Yeah.
But I think, like, I have always had this problem with corporates. They don't treat people like shit. It's not
Hmm.
required. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't tell them if you don't like it, resign. Don't hurt their self respect. Don't hurt their egos. They're here because for something, treat them equally.
Hmm.
If you
Yeah.
don't, if you won't talk to the owner of the company like that, don't talk to the person there for that. Just because you're
Hmm.
paying them, you think you're putting food on their table, don't treat them like that. And I think Harry Potter, me, there's a quote somewhere that uh, you should judge a person by how they treat their inferiors, not their equals. That's how you judge a
Hmm.
person's character. And it's very important to judge everyone equally.
Yeah. Very wise, Tanya. I think this conversation shifted more towards life and philosophy than more about managing money. I think you have that side to yourself, which is very
Yeah.
refreshing, of course. Let's wrap this up by getting to know some challenges which you feel you faced in your, I don't know, across, I think two parts to this question. Some challenges you faced while managing your own money for the first time, and some challenges you faced while your CA prep journey. So how did your that experience really? I know about the physical challenge part, that you, like, your health wasn't right and then you put down, following the norm, and then you took it your way. But what have you learned across that journey, that if someone in similar shoes like yours are there, and if for someone like who's just starting out their new job or starting out a new business, some money instances or challenges, or and some CA advice if you have.
See, when I started earning, I used to just put that, it used to come in the bank account and I used to just keep it there. Probably I use that money to gift something to my parents, to my brother. I gifted earphones, like Bose earphones, which is expensive. And I felt good about it. But after a point of time, I realized I'm not, like, the money is not growing. If I'm studying today, that money was not growing. So, and I put that money in FDs, which is like 6-7% return, which I don't think is the right thing to do. So I think it's important to know that you should just diversify, put your money in everything. Put your money in mutual fund also, put your money in FDs also, put your money in stock market also. It's a very underrated and the most feared tool. But I think it's very important for people today's generation to learn about stock market. Because
Hmm.
I know my friends were earning 70% return in equities. 7-0 at
Damn.
least. And that is crazy and people don't know about it. They just, and don't take tips from people and put money in any random stock. Don't take tips. Learn stock market the right way and start your stock market journey. Your money will grow exponentially, especially if you're doing a job and even for business. It can become your primary source of income. That's very important. You will see if you have 20,000 bank account in few months, year, in some years will become 1 lakh rupees. So
Hmm.
when I compare it to 7-8% in
FDs.
mutual funds and
Yeah.
FDs, it's huge. That's biggest challenge. I just let my money stay in bank account, which is not the right thing to do. And for CA challenge, I think the whole journey has been challenging. Like that has been my biggest pain point that will always stay with me. Um, I think the biggest challenge was just not focusing on my own self. I was just
Hmm.
listening to a lot of outside noise that this is what you should do, that is what you should do. But the biggest challenge I think, was studying alone in my room. I don't think, because see, already is a very lonely journey. Okay, you don't have friends. You fear sharing your problems with people because either they will laugh at it or you will feel demotivated because that probably your friend is doing, has studied more, has done more revisions, and you're still stuck. Then you will not ask them, "Okay, I'm stuck in this problem." Just join libraries, be with those people when you're around CA students who are facing the same problem. You will see even after having lunch, they're also falling asleep. Then you will not feel guilty of falling asleep after lunch.
Yeah.
Okay. So even they are scared for exams, you will also feel okay, I'm normal. This is okay, you know? So I think just be around CA students, be around people, you'll feel better. The journey will become definitely less challenging. So I think I have learned it the hard way. And this is what, and for people who are starting their, uh, like started their jobs, save some, invest some, you learn it with time. Don't put pressure on yourself that, no, I have to invest 20%, I have to save 20%. Save some according to what you think, invest some according to what you think. Life teaches you about everything, but be open to learn. Like learn stock market, learn mutual fund, learn FD. Try and compare. You'll actually become your own teacher. And otherwise, everyone is there out there to help you, but try and do something for your own self.
Yeah. I think you're very big on that philosophy of finding out or figuring out it on your own, which again, we were starting on this we started on this while talking, how
Yeah,
you don't conform to the standard and always save your bills. I think
yeah,
that is an advice that people should take from this.
yeah, yeah,
Loved
yeah,
talking to you, Tanya. Thank you so much for being on the show. I think you have certainly a natural ability to express complicated topics into simplified language, and I would be
yeah.
excited to see you more on the front of the camera, and great talking to you. Thanks for doing this.
It was great talking to you, Ripudaman. I just enjoyed it. It was a good conversation. And I'm sure your podcast is going to reach millions very, very soon. You have it in you. And thank
Thank
you for
you.
having me on the show.
Thank you.